I came in and planted golden beets and purple top turnips at that end of the bed. The reason that I wanted to plant them down there last night was that I have melons growing on this vine and I want to let them come across, and I don't want to wait until they've attached or rooted to pull them up and plant them for the turnips and beets. So I put it in last night. I didn't water because I'm going to water just a second here in the garden, but I'm going to do the same thing on this end. A lot of what I'm picking up is the really broken down straw from that side because I put new straw down on that side. But this I'm going to put on the compost. Most of the sunflower seeds most of the sunflower leaves did break down pretty well into the soil, so it's mostly the straw. This is the remnants of a sunflower leaf, but it's mostly the straw that I'm going to be taking over to the compost and then planting striped beets and solid red beets on this side. By the time these get to maturity in about 60 to 65 days, that'll be mid-September, and then this bed will be ready for whatever overwinter planting I plan to do. I don't know if I'm going to put garlic back in here, but this bed will be ready to turn over if I do want to do fall harvesting or overwinter harvesting again in this particular bed. I've changed my approach to gardening, and I don't know if it has to do with using less pest maintenance this season, but it seems like I have had the worst allergies this season that I've ever had, and being in the garden is very taxing. I try to come out super early and do what I need to do, or later in the evening, but the pollen has been ridiculous. But I've noticed that my garden has been a lot better for it. The less even natural pesticides I've used, the better my garden has seemed. So it's been a lot more work for me. I'm manually coming out and checking for squash bug eggs and killing squash bugs every day. I'm not spraying for them. It takes a lot of time to do that. And every day it seems like I find more and, well, I shouldn't say more and more. Every day I find some bugs, but it's definitely not an infestation of bugs, which I was afraid could happen. I got as much straw as I want to collect from off of here. I forgot to grab my seeds, so I'm going to go grab my seeds and plant 2 rows each of the striped and dark beets. I call this the first trellis that I've extended this season. I have quite a bit of fruit. I started to put the fruit into bags to protect them from critters. So I have 2 petite yellow for sure. I have 3 different cantaloupe. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 butternut squash, and the acorn squash are coming back, so they're not in bags yet, but I have an acorn squash here and an acorn squash over here. Helper pollinating this butternut here, and there are 3 more female flowers open, so I'm going to have them come back and help me pollinate them before they close up for the morning. But I started to protect, and you know, my main concern under the trellises right now with the boards is just making sure that whatever squash eggs I see, I smash. Trying to look for any evidence of vine borers, which I think that the aluminum foil helped, and any pests I see, just picking them off as I see them. But I have to come out here every day because I'm trying to cut back and use more natural options than spraying anything on my vine. I will use the sprays if I need to, but I'm really trying to get away from them, with the exception of the peppermint oil. I will spray. It's an idea I got from the Rustic Garden. I will spray about every 2 weeks with peppermint oil on the underside of the leaves. But so far, my pests, the major pest I deal with, which is the squash vine bug and the cucumber beetle, they haven't overtaken, but it is just July, so we'll see what happens. And I wanted to bring you in to see how the trellis has actually been filling in. This is the smaller of the two trellises up against the back of the fence, and it is really overgrown, but not in a way that it's not healthy. Just I can't really tell which branch goes to what, but there are a couple of squash that do need to be pollinated, so I'm going to have my helper pollinate them because they are a little bit higher, and he's had more success in the garden than I have with pollinating, so I'm going to do that now. What I have on this trellis, I have one Yamato cream that sits right here. I have one, what I think is a pumpkin, up here. And then back here, I have a cream of the crop. So this area, although nice and green, has been kind of my problem area because things haven't been growing as well as they grew on the other trellis. What I believe, even though I planted much less than I planted on that one, I'm going to plant a lot less next year. Move the melons to another trellised area and just let this be for the larger gourds, or take the larger gourds and move them outside of a trellising because they really overtake and overrun, and I hope this ends up supporting the trellis throughout the rest of the season. This right here was the whole reason I left this vine to grow, to get bonus fruit. I'm not taking care of this at all, but right down here, it looks like I have my first gourd, whatever it's going to be. It could be a pumpkin, I don't know, but I have a fruit growing and I have a couple more females that look like they're coming up. So I'm gonna just let that be and see what I end up collecting. The cucumber patch in the garden has taken quite a hit, and I had to clean up a lot. I took out a lot of leaves in here that were just dead and dying, and two of the pickle bushes are gone. This one I left because it has fruit down here and here. I took out none of the Sumter squash, but I took out so many leaves. There are some pollinated cucumbers that I left this. I didn't totally pull out the cucumbers, but there's a lot of spider mite damage, and I think I just got to using the peppermint oil too late. The good news is I have about 4 or 5 plants in another area that are coming, so there might just be a lull in the cucumbers for me. But the lemon cucumber plant here looks a lot better. It was yellow and it's getting green again, and it definitely has some fruit on it as well too. So I hope this bounces back, but if not, I have the backup area. And the tomato on the other side has a couple of fruit, but I don't think there's enough sun in this area for the tomato to actually thrive. Over in this area is my project area where I took the onions out of the bed, reset the bed, and there are now 3 types of squash in this bed and a watermelon in that bed, and then on the other side is where I put the cucumbers. So this is a new melon area. I may not get much out of this harvest, but I still wanted to do a second set just in case the first plants did get devastated by bugs, considering I'm taking a new approach and we're seeing how